Today, I really want to focus on manifestation. I've kind of been thinking about that religiously the last few weeks, and I feel like this is something I wanted to talk about and express with you. So, just getting started, we can just find a comfortable position on our backs, laying down. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Relaxing your muscles and relaxing your mind. Manifestation, in a spiritual sense, is the sacred process of bringing desires, dreams, and intentions from the unseen realm of thought and energy into tangible reality. It's the art of co-creating with the universe, aligning your mind, soul, and actions with divine flow of abundance and purpose. At its core, manifestation is rooted in belief, vibration, and intention. What you focus on, you attract. What you deeply feel, you call forth. What you truly believe, you become. It's not about simply wishing for something, it's about embodying the energy of what you seek. Trusting that the universe responds to the frequency you emit. Manifestation requires clarity of intention, unwavering faith, and aligned action. It's the dance between surrender and effort, knowing when to trust the divine timing of the universe and when to step forward boldly. It's a reflection of inner work, for reality mirrors the state of the soul. To manifest is to awaken your power as a creator, to dissolve doubt, and to walk in the knowing of what's meant for you already, meant for your spirit, and is simply waiting for you to claim it. Taking control of your breath, taking a big inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, you find yourself in a seated position, taking control of your breath and raising up your arms, and then leaning over to the left side, and then going to the other, and extending your arms out to your sides, flexing your hands up, giving it a good push, and then flexing your wrists down. And then in circular motions, rotating your wrists in whatever direction. And then raising your arms up. And then taking your right arm down and taking your arm over your head for a deeper stretch. And then going over to the other side. And then finding your center, arms extended. And then raising your arms up, clasping your hands together, and placing your hands on the back of your head. And then going in circular motions, using your upper back and your neck, just rowing. And then going in the opposite direction. And then releasing your arms out to your side or onto your knees. Taking a big inhale and exhale. And then rotating your neck around in circular motions. And then going in the opposite direction. And then finding your center and taking your head back and looking up, forward, chin to your chest. And then rolling your head to one side. And then rolling it around to the other. And then one more neck roll around in any direction that feels right. And then finding your center. And then taking a couple breaths starting from the stomach and chest and shoulders. Inhaling through the nose, filling up your stomach. Another sip of air for your chest. And another sip of air filling up your shoulders. And then hold that breath. And then slowly exhale from the shoulders, from your chest, and from your stomach, getting rid of all that stale air. And then taking an inhale and finding your natural breath. And on your next exhale, inhale from the stomach, with the chest, and from your shoulders. And then hold that breath. And then slowly exhale from the shoulders, from your chest, and from your stomach, getting rid of all the stale air. And then a normal inhale with your natural breath. All right. And then when we're ready, we're going to stand in the center of our mats. And we're all going to face the bar over here. Taking our arms up, clasping our hands together and going over to one side, stretching your rib.
Your one rib.
Your one singular rib. And then stretching over to the other side.
For the other singular rib.
And then finding your center. And then opening up your arms out, extended to your sides. And then spacing your feet apart and giving your knees a slight bend for a goddess, opening up your chest. Taking your gaze up, taking control of your breath, and then straightening out your legs and extending your arms back out again. And then taking your left hand down your left leg with your chest still open and your arm up. And then taking your right arm down, framing your left foot with your hands, feeling the stretch in your legs. And then taking your right knee, placing it down for a lunge. And feeling the stretch here. Maybe swaying side to side. And then taking your arms up and raising your upper body. And maybe pushing your hips forward for a deeper stretch. And then framing your forward foot again with your hands. And then placing all of the weight on that bent leg for Skandasana. Your right leg extended out. Maybe hands to heart center. Or placed on your mat for support.
Yeah. We're going to go the support route.
And then taking your right foot in a little closer for a yogi squat. Maybe pushing against your knees with your elbows. And then extending out your left leg for a Skandasana on the other side. Maybe placing your hands on the mat for support or hands to heart center.
Knee test. Not bad, gentlemen. Not bad at all.
And then framing your right foot with your hands and dropping that back left knee for a lunge. Swaying side to side.
My balls might actually be visible.
And then raising your arms up and your chest up. And pushing your hips forward for a deeper stretch.
Trimmed.
And taking your arms down, framing your front foot. And pushing up your hips for the pyramid. Your hands still framed around your right foot. And taking your left hand and opening up your chest. Raising your left hand to the sky. And then raising your upper body up with your arms extended out to your sides. Stretching out your body. And then bending your knees slightly and opening up your chest for a goddess. And then straightening your legs out, arms extended. And then bringing your feet close together. Taking your arms up to the sky. And bending over to your right side. And then finding your center, and then over to your left. And then finding center. And then slowly fall into a forward fold. Just hanging, maybe holding onto your elbows and swaying side to side. And then flattening your back, straightening your back and doing a half fold. Maybe holding onto your knees or upper thighs. Taking control of your breath and then falling forward completely. And then turning to face the front of the mat, the class. Placing your hands down. And then taking your legs back for a downward dog. Pedaling out your feet. And then slowly dropping your knees down to your mat. And then taking your forearms down. Clasping your hands together. And then pushing your hips up. And then slowly shifting your head forward past your hands into a plank. And then pushing your hips back up.
This is good to do if you have scapular winging.
And then 2 more, pushing your hips forward, your head past your hands for a plank. And then pushing your hips up. And then 1 last time, pushing your hips forward, your head past your hands. And then pushing your hips up and dropping your knees down to your mat. And falling into a child's pose.
We can do it, guys.
Taking control of your breath. And then going into a downward dog.
Fucking sleep apnea ass dog.
Pedaling out your feet. And then bringing your right knee to your chest. And pulling it through for a pigeon. Pushing up against your mat. Arching your back. And taking your gaze up. And then falling forward onto your forearms or your head on your mat. And just taking a second in this resting pose, catching your breath. And then if it's in your practice, taking your back leg and bending it closer to you.
That was a lot.
And then releasing, placing your hands on your mat and meeting in a downward dog. Taking your right leg up to the sky. And maybe bending that knee and opening up your hip. And then dropping it down to the mat. Pedaling out your feet. And taking your left knee close to your chest. And pulling it through for the pigeon on the other side. Pushing against the mat in front of you, taking your gaze up and arching your back. And then falling forward to your forearms or your head to your mat. And then again, if it's in your practice, taking your back leg and bending it closer to you. And then releasing, placing your hands on your mat, and then meeting in a downward dog. And taking your left leg up, and bending that knee, and then dropping that leg to the mat, and pedaling out your feet. And then slowly dropping the knees to the mat for a tabletop.
The tabletop.
The tabletop. And then just doing some cat-cows, lowering your stomach, taking a big inhale, and then arching your back up, exhale, down, inhale, and then doing a couple of these in your own pace. And then maybe going in circular motions for some barrel rolls.
Doorbell roll.
And making sure to go in the opposite direction always.
How you liking that, Burton?
I did say my class was PG.
It's art. You can't rate art.
And then falling into that child's pose. Just taking big inhales and exhales. And then meeting in a tabletop once more.
The tabletop.
And then taking your right arm out in front of you, extending that. And then lifting your left leg out and behind you. A balancing tabletop. And then raising your extended limbs as much as possible. And then slowly dropping to your mat. And the same with the opposite sides, lifting your left hand up and your right leg back.
Yeah. What size shoe?
And then raising the extended limbs as much as possible.
Too small.
And then slowly dropping to your mat. And then one more time on both sides, so your right arm up, left leg back. And then raising them up as much as possible. And then dropping it down to your mat. Then the opposite sides, raising them up. Left arm, right leg. And then lifting them up as much as possible. And then slowly dropping down to the mat. Doing some cat-cows and just maybe motioning forward or back. And then taking your right hand and opening up your chest. And then threading your hand through your arms.
The bind don't make sense.
And then if you feel comfortable, you can take your left arm and wrap it around you for a bind.
For less pressure on your arm. The whole point of the stretch.
And then releasing the bind. Opening up your chest with your right arm. And stretching your back. And then placing the hand back on the mat. And this time with your left, opening up your chest. And then threading through your arm. And if you did the bind before, taking your right arm around you. And then placing your right hand back down, releasing that bind. And then opening up your chest, lifting up your left arm. And then placing it back down on your mat. Maybe rotating your wrists around. Might need it after that. And then finding a seated position.
Just found this.
Extending your legs out in front of you. And then raising your arms up. Taking a big inhale and reaching for the sky. And then slowly falling forward, reaching for your knees or your shins or your toes or my hedgehog socks by a campfire. You can see these later.
The fuck? It's a fat ass squirrel.
The pants were covering it. I could see the fire really well.
It's like a loaf.
Squirrels in my neighborhood.
That long tail. The thing doesn't even have a tail.
It could have been the tail.
It looks like
Don't
the
worry.
dog toy.
And then raising your arms up. Taking a big inhale. And then one more time, exhaling, falling forward. And then raising ourselves up. And then dropping our arms down. And then taking your right leg and pulling your foot close to yourself here. And then taking that foot over your leg. And then just bouncing the knee. loosening up the muscles, and then releasing, and then extending that leg out in front, and then switching legs. Placing the other one on your extended leg.
Much more flexible leg.
And then just bouncing that knee. And then extending that leg out. And then pointing your toes. And then flexing your feet forward. And doing those a couple times, pointing and flexing. And then taking your feet apart as wide as possible. And maybe placing your hands behind you and pushing yourself forward for a deeper stretch. And then crawling forward to your center. And then crawling over to your right side. And then crawling slowly to the center. And then to the other side. And then slowly crawling back to the center for that final stretch. And then pushing yourself up. And then grabbing the back of your knees and helping you into a butterfly pose. I can't stop looking at my socks. I love that. And then slowly falling forward into the butterfly. And then pushing ourselves up. Raising our arms up to the sky. And then slowly falling forward again. And then pushing ourselves up. And then bringing our legs close to us. And just finding ourselves on our back here. Extending our legs out in front. And then raising your right leg up to the sky. Pointing the foot. And then flexing as if you're standing on the ceiling. And then pointing your foot. And then rotating your ankle. Circular motions in both directions. And then slowly dropping the leg down. And then raising the left leg up, pointing your toes. And then flexing your foot. And then pointing your toe and then going in circular motions with your ankle.
Bruce is missing out.
In both directions. And then dropping that leg slowly down. And this time bringing up both legs. Pointing and flexing your feet. And then bringing your knees close to you and giving yourself a big hug. Maybe rocking side to side. And then taking your knees and then dropping them over to your right side.
Okay. We'll shift the hips.
Your arms extended out to you. And then maybe gazing over to your left. And then bringing the knees to the center. And dropping over to the other side. Gazing over to your right. And then bringing your knees to the center. And giving yourself a big hug one more time. And then sitting up. And standing up at the front of our mats. And extending your arms up.
Go sit in a chair.
And then bending your knees slightly. Extending your arms out in front of you for a chair.
How did I know?
And then straightening out your knees. And arching back. And slowly folding forward. just hanging and maybe grabbing your elbows and swaying side to side. And then slowly rolling up and raising your arms up to the sky and arching the back. And then bending the knees, taking your arms out in front of you for the chair, and then extending your legs straight and opening up your arms and opening up your chest and taking a big inhale, and then slowly bending the knees down all the way until you're down to your mat and laying down on our backs. Taking a big inhale and exhale through the nose. Bringing your right knee to your chest and giving it a hug. And then extending your leg again. And the same with your left knee, bringing that close to your chest. And then extending that leg. And then doing any remaining poses that feel right in this moment. Maybe a happy baby, or holding your feet close together and pushing it towards your chest. And then when you feel ready, finding yourself in a laying pose, whatever feels right. For our final Shavasana, taking in a big inhale and exhale, and settling into your mats as if you're melting. And then bringing back to our main focus, manifestation. It's the art of turning thoughts into reality by aligning your energy, beliefs, and actions with your desires. What you focus on is what you attract. Clarity, faith, and inspired action are key. Trust divine timing. Embody the energy of what you seek. And know what's meant for you is already yours. Thanking your body, your breath, and this time you've dedicated to self-care. Relaxing all the important muscles we've used today. Relaxing your legs and your arms, your chest, and your neck. Relaxing your jaw and your eyes and your forehead. All that's remaining is your chest lifting and rising from your natural breath. Bringing awareness back to your mind. Wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers. Taking your arms up overhead and stretching out your body for a good morning stretch. Taking a big inhale and exhale. And then when you're ready, you bring yourself in a seated position. Taking a big inhale, exhale. I want to thank everyone for coming out here today. I'm really happy. I'm really happy to be teaching this class. I'm always happy to be here every Sunday. This class, it kind of meant a lot to me because I really am thinking a lot about manifestation and what that means for me and how that'll make me a happier person maybe with like a brighter future, even though things already seem pretty bright for me. That's how I feel right now. I hope that everyone here can take this sense of calmness and brightness into your rest of your week. Raising up your arms and bringing your hands to heart center for namaste.
Namaste.